Alright, welcome back to Introduction to the Body Part 2. You should have finished interactive notebook pages, organization of the body, and then introduction to the tissues. We will now be starting on overview of organ systems 1 and then followed by overview of organ systems 2. If you want, you can push pause on this video. This very slide right here gives you every bit of information that you need to know. I'm going to flip over to the worksheet pages here. Alright, so overview of the body systems 1 has each of your body systems. We have integumentary, skeletal, muscular, digestive, circulatory. You're going to list the function of each of those and then body parts associated. And we'll look at number 2. Respiratory, excretory is also known as your urinary system. Immune, endocrine, nervous, and reproductive. Again, you do function and then the body part associated with those body systems. Reproductive, on the PowerPoint is split into male and female. You are going to keep it together. Obviously, you can separate which components go with each of those. Once you have that finished, you're going to do the next worksheet called Name That System. And then we're going to keep moving on from there. Let me get the PowerPoint going back up. We're going to be moving on to body cavities. Okay. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about anatomical position. Everybody should remember that anatomical position means that the body is standing erect with the arms at the side, palms facing forward, with the thumbs out. Okay? So that way we know, if we know the body's in anatomical position, that means we are right the opposite. Remember, right is left, left is right. Okay? So when you're looking at a body and we know it's in anatomical position, your right side is actually its left side. And your left side is actually its right side. Okay? Alright, so anatomical positions, directional terms. Looking at this, this is a great picture to describe each of these. So let's go on to our planes here. Alright, so we have, first off, which is A in the diagram here, this one right here. It cuts the body straight down this linear line all the way down the body. And that is coronal or frontal. And remember, it divides the body into front and back halves, or the correct terms for that would be anterior and posterior, or ventral and dorsal. Remember the dorsal fin on the dolphin. Okay. B, the one right here that cuts the body this direction right here, that would be cutting the body into upper and lower halves, or the correct term would be superior and inferior halves of the body. And then we have the medial or mid-sagittal. This is C, and we'll be cutting the body straight down this way. And if you remember, it's very particular which one you're talking about, whether it's medial or mid-sagittal. Medial just means that it is anywhere. It can be right here, a medial cut, right here, a medial cut, right here, a medial cut. It just separates the body into right and left halves. Now that mid-sagittal cut is one that directly cuts the body into equal right and left parts. That's very key. Mid-sagittal cuts the body into equal right and left parts. Went back and looked at the worksheets. I kind of got ahead of myself. So, again, we'll start right here with superior. Remember, superior is the upper portion of the body. Inferior is below. Okay? Medial is towards the midline. Lateral means away from the midline. We'll go with proximal and distal next. Proximal is closer to the point of attachment. My shoulder is proximal to my elbow because my shoulder is closer to the point of attachment than my elbow. Distal. My elbow is distal to my shoulder because my elbow is farther away from the point of attachment than my shoulder. Okay? Here we go again with the posterior, anterior, ventral, dorsal. Anterior ventral is the front of the body towards the front. Posterior dorsal is towards the back. And that should get all of them. Let's go back and take a look at our worksheet and make sure that we got all of those for you. Dorsal, towards the back of the body. Ventral, towards the back of the body. Anterior, we covered all of those. Proximal, distal. Superficial. Superficial is towards the surface of the skin. Think of it that way. Towards the surface of the skin. That is, I lost my pointer here. Superficial. Deep would be deep within the body. Within. Deep. Okay? That should take care of all those. Now let's look at our body cavities. Okay? Go back to the PowerPoint here. Body cavities. Here we go. Alright, so here's our body cavities. We have the posterior, and then the ventral cavity, posterior aspect, I'm sorry, and anyway. We have the cranial cavity, vertebral cavity, which houses the spinal cord. Cranial cavity obviously houses the brain. We have the thoracic cavity here, which houses our lungs, diaphragm. Then we have the abdominal pelvic cavity. We have the abdominal cavity, which houses, our intestines, all that stuff. And then we have the pelvic cavity, which is part of the abdominal pelvic. Okay? Here's just another view of it. The mediastinum, pleural cavity, pericardial cavity, diaphragm is all considered thoracic. And then in the abdominal pelvic cavity, we have the abdominal and then the pelvic separated. Okay? Again, this is a mid-sagittal view, so if we cut the body into equal right and left halves, this would be the view of it. And this is the coronal. If we just cut the front section off of the body, that's what we would see. Oops, I went on to the slide. Alright, so for the next page of our interactive notebook, you're going to be needing this image here, the body region slide, and you're going to identify each of the following anterior body landmarks. So, basically, what's anterior to the abdominal, I believe is what it's asking for. Anterior body, trunk inferior to the ribs. Okay. Acromal, the point of the shoulder. Oh, it's saying identify. Okay, so basically you're going to go through here and figure out a way to identify the landmark. You can actually use the anatomy textbook to do this as well. So that's anatomical language sheet 2. Let's look at anatomical language sheet 3. Regional terms are the names of specific areas. These terms are body landmarks. Identify each of the following body landmarks. Okay, so again, you can use this diagram to label those. So that takes care of anatomy sheet 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to move on to identifying anterior/ventral body regions. So let's go ahead and look at that one. Let me make this bigger. This would be your regions, okay? Again, this is all memorization. This is all should be very redundant. So push pause on that. You can get all those named. These are the organs associated with each one of those abdominal quadrants. And then we've already done body planes and sections. That should be your next one. And then drawing those body sections. Alright, so that should take care of all the lecture for the introduction to the body. I'm going to open up some things on Health Center 21 for you, as well as just to add some extra stuff. So you'll finish your interactive notebook, and then we're going to move on to an extra worksheet or two on the body planes and sections, and then we'll be testing, okay?